So this is kind of considered to be the main area we're going to be controlling it. There is actually an additional control point down at the stage manager's rack. There is an additional copy of this touch panel.
Ed, when you say the stage manager's rack, are you referring to the Quick Touch console?
I'm not sure what that is. Is that
are you talking about the podium?
No, I'm talking about the rack that's kind of stage right.
The big black box.
That includes all of
the rigging.
The stagecraft stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're calling it so many different things.
Yeah, there's been a lot of names flying around.
So
with
you call it the stage manager's?
Yeah, the stage manager's rack is what we've been calling it.
I kind of like that. Okay. That's what it is.
Because that's what it is. It's kind of descriptive, right? Yeah, so there's just to the right of that, there's another one of these. There's also intercom locations here as well as over there. The stage manager's location actually has a slightly more advanced version than the rest of the locations because there's actually two groups of intercom paging areas. There's everything up here and everything downstairs. Those are two separate groups, A and B. So any individual can take one of these belt packs and headsets and plug them in. You'll notice that they're kind of keyed. This has a 4-pin, and this headset right here has 4 pins, so you can plug that in right there. And then you can take any typical 3-pin XLRs. I've got a whole bunch of spare ones for you guys, and plug them into any of the receiving locations.
And those include, I think in the dance studio and the black box.
Yes.
Were those kind of Qualcomm, I think, things?
Clearcom.
Clearcom?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what that's for.
Yeah, and we'll look at those closer later on, but yes.
You have to be plugged in.
So those locations do not require these. Those actually have speakers and microphones built into them. But these other locations, there's one here, and we'll look at some of the other ones over there, where you actually have to plug into the wall in order to be able to use it. There's just a jack. Okay. But those locations are special.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of a quick introduction to kind of the layout. Do you have any questions so far?
Are you providing?
Yeah, there's one for every single spot.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of loose items up at the electrical room upstairs. Those include wireless microphones, such as these. We also have lapel versions, 12 of each.
Okay.
Those are operated from here. We'll get to that in a second. There's also 4 stage fill speakers located over there. Brannick is actually going to coordinate where they're going to be stored ultimately, but right now it's just a temporary situation. And yeah, the rest of those, I think that's everything. Oh yeah, and there's also some stage side mixers and input expansion. So getting to the control system, there's ultimately, if you want to think about the entire thing, there's 3, 4, 5, there's basically 6 endpoints, meaning like displays of some kind for this entire area. So the obvious one is out there, the main projector. That's considered number 1. This room is actually set up to have up to 3 projectors total, including that one. You'll notice that there's big screens on either side of the auditorium. There are, and we'll walk down there as we're going down to the front, but on in each of these little alcoves, there is a location where you can plug in one of these receivers with a typical Ethernet jack, and it's got an HDMI on the other side, and you can plug that into a rental projector. So that's the purpose of those, per the original design, is that those are positions for rental projectors to project onto those 2 surfaces there. You know, put whatever you like on there. It's routable as everything else.
On the rail or somewhere thereabouts?
That was never discussed with me. All I was told is that I needed to provide a location to have a loose receiver and plug into a rental projector. So I would assume that you probably have it on a cart, if I had to guess, because I don't think there's currently any permanent surface for that to live.
Yeah.
So there's those. This is obviously a 4th. This is just called the sound booth monitor. So that's 5, 4. And then there's 2 displays downstairs. You've probably seen them, the portrait-oriented ones in the lobby. Those are also driven from this area. They're actually being driven by these 2 Chrome boxes provided by Jason Bird. So these are basically just going to be signage. And they do not have any routing capability from here. It's only ever driven from these 2. The system will let you turn those displays on and off, though, remotely. So it's kind of assumed that if you're in if you're having a thing up here, you're probably going to want to have some kind of signage down there saying, hey, this is the play that we're doing. And you would put those on here and do your thing. So moving a little bit more to the guts of it. Actually, before I move on, did you have any questions about that? So moving on to the control of those individual displays, this is where it's all done. So from an off state, you can press the display controls, or you can just navigate to the same page from wherever you are on this control system. This is the display controls page, and it's broken up into projectors and lobby displays. So the left and right rental projection locations, there's some kind of generic control in here that may or may not work based on what you guys get. There's only so much that I can do, not knowing what model you're going to have, so I'm using some kind of generic control there as far as the power on and off of those. Don't know if they will work. That's kind of, you know, on you guys as far as the model. You can also control the screens from here. Unfortunately, you can't control the center one from here. The center one is part of the stage rigging and has to be controlled from the stage rigging panel. But you can control either of those here.
Is this the only place you can control the screens?
The
Side screens?
The side screens you can control from here and the stage manager's rack.
Okay.
These are they're duplicates of each other.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then these are controls for the lobby displays, just basic on and off. Whenever the system is turned on and off, in some systems it's kind of an automated thing. If you're turning the system on, we'll assume you probably want the projector on, but this is kind of a special scenario. The auditorium, you may not want the projector to be on. So as of right now, that functionality is turned off.
Can that serve as a monitor during shows so that if somebody takes their crying child out into the lobby, can that serve as a monitor?
Can what?
Or those screens for like...
Out in the lobby?
Yeah. For
currently, no.
Okay.
No, they can currently only be driven from these two devices here.
Okay.
That's
just
their sole
content
purpose.
that we create.
Yes. Right now,
Still static image out.
not necessarily. So these are basically like kind of stripped down PCs. They're basically just a browser and nothing else.
Okay.
They do have some other software that they can put onto it, but I'm not too familiar with what the options are. There may be some special signage software that you can do with those, but right now they're basically just browsers.
Do you access those through the...
Right now, and this is kind of a design thing, there's really no way to look at these other than through those lobby displays. However, I do have a hack. So in order to set these up, I basically used, there's actually an HDMI input right here on this front panel. This is called the sound booth input. And I just routed, plugged one of these in at a time and went into this routing here. So this is the top page here, source routing, and I said I want to see the sound booth on the monitor. So then that will show up. But you're going to see that it shows up in kind of a weird portrait orientation because they're set up in portrait out there. So, but then I got a keyboard and mouse from Jason Bird, and I think that may be dedicated for this, and that's how I kind of got these guys set up. Moving forward, we can look at better expansion for that. Everything that you're seeing is per the design that I was given.
Yeah.
So that's what that's all about as far as the lobby displays. This is really the purpose you're more likely to use this for, is to have a laptop up here and show a laptop or some kind of content. You can play some music.
Now, do we use our own laptops for this, or is there a laptop? I guess there's just a keyboard, so you use that screen. You don't have to use laptop, right?
Yeah, no. So there's, sorry, clarify your question.
I don't think I just meant there's a keyboard and a mouse so that you can just.
That was given to me solely for this, solely for these two
There's
things.
the monitor. Is it just a monitor?
It's just a monitor.
So we're asking, what technology are we using up here? Is this
You're bringing your own device,
Okay.
so our own classroom
laptop,
computers?
typically.
Okay.
Yeah, there are stage inputs at the. There are inputs at the stage as well.
So there's no other technology, or it is just from what they gave you for us to
So-
run any of this? We're only using our classroom stuff, which then is running double duty.
For your sound kids?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we only have our classroom laptops.
You
We
also
don't
have Blu-rays. You have 3 Blu-ray players.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then we have
those
the
are in
touch screen.
system, too.
Yeah, those
Yeah, those are located right here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense because sometimes, just trying to think about,
What your options are.
right, because
Yeah.
sometimes you're running the system and running our classrooms are separate procedures sometimes.
Totally understand.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, so the primary inputs are here, the stage booth,
Okay.
or the sound booth rather. There are video inputs in the left and right stage floor boxes.
Okay.
Also for just an HDMI input.
Okay.
The camera, which is just a pan tilt zoom camera right here, which it has its own controls down here
And
for
that's
pan
what
tilt
we were
and
talking
zoom.
about, feeds into
Yeah,
the
it feeds
dance
down
room.
into the, so
Audio
that
room.
that actually has kind of static permanent feeds down to your dance room and also
Brannick's room.
Brannick's audio engineering room. Yeah. But then you can also route it here as you like. And then you can also just route none if you, for whatever reason, don't want to look at anything at that particular moment. Turn that on, route that there.
But as we talked about the other day, but for everybody, that is only video.
The camera feed is only video, yes, that is correct. Certainly is a possibility that we could expand upon that and add an audio line down there in the future, but currently it is video only. Yeah, it was a discussion that she and I had previously that it
Yeah.
really makes a lot more
Brad
sense
and
to
I talked
have
about it too, so
an
we're
audio
on
feed.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that, but in a way that we can do it where it's not. We can discuss that later.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. You and I can talk a little bit more offline, but I think a Dante feed might work.
Yeah.
So, you're going to notice already that I started turning on the projector, and it takes a minute to turn on, and that's because it's a very large projector with 4 separate lamps that are providing all that brightness. That's why it's able to look okay in an environment that's got this much ambient light in it. So that's something to bear in mind, that when you hit on, it's not immediately going to turn on. It has about a 30-second warm up. Yeah, it's not too bad considering it's as big as it is. Right now, this thing is not sending my sound out the right area. Some of those speakers.
This is a silly question. Does this just stay on all the time? Does this
Yes.
never get turned off? Is this-
It's not going to hurt it if you ever force turn it off.
But it should just stay on. all
But
the
generally
time?
speaking, yes, it should just stay on all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever.
You just have to turn everything on every time.
Yeah, so again, a lot of the systems that I tend to work on, I'll have that be automated, the turning on and off of individual things. But as I said, in here, this is kind of a special case. So
Yeah.
in here, you do need to independently turn off the projector and this monitor. I mean, this monitor, I actually don't have a way to control it from here. You just physically turn it off.
Okay.
But the projector, you're going to want to have kind of independent control rather than having it automated. So I have that separate. The lobby displays, however, do turn off automatically.
And you turn those off then?
Yeah, just by doing a system shutdown. And the system shutdown is going to unroute everything, it mutes everything.
Are we responsible for doing that, Scott, at night, of turning off the monitors and stuff? I mean, who's responsible for doing that?
You by monitors, you mean in the towel lobby?
It should really be the responsibility of whoever is operating this station at the end of whatever event is taking place.
I thought those were just on all. Okay. I'm not
those-
talking about the ones downstairs. We're talking about there's monitors up here.
No, I'm talking about the lobby displays.
Lobby
Yeah.
And I think we'll toy around. I think with time we'll toy around with how we want to use those. And I think
Okay.
I think it's neat when they are only. I think it's neat when they're on for productions, right? It says this is what this space is for. I mean, it's really a powerful image.
And-
If we're too careful, and if we're not too careful, and we just use them for everything, then it takes away that sense of I'm walking into the
I
theater.
thought that's
space.
what they were for. That's what, like, we had the old ones back in the building that just
So
ran.
we'll see, but we
You
also
can
have
do-
common
you could do both,
monitors,
really.
So that
Oh,
might be
I see,
another
that's
place for
separate,
that.
okay.
So we'll toy with it. We got to figure. It's like we'll move in and sort of figure that piece
Okay.
out. But I think I would say that anybody who is part of decides what images on the screens should be responsible for figuring out
How to
when
take
those
them off.
are off.
Yes.
Right? So I think
Yeah.
that should be our immediate. That's what makes sense to me. Immediate thinking, so that if we put some early on school-wide expectations, for example, on the first day as kids are walking in, that should fall on whoever puts those up. I think for performances, whoever's controlling that, they're taking it.
And you turn them off at the monitor.
No, you turn them off from here.
Oh, right here. Okay,
Display
I missed that.
controls.
I'm sorry, I was talking.
And it's the lobby TV. So.
Yeah,
And
it's all broken out right here.
Kind of stupid question, but this little panel looks exactly like the other little panel that's down by the stage managers that we use for the
preset.
lighting and presets and stuff. There's this one of these. So there's two of these little guys down there?
No, this is...
Or is it the same one?
It's completely... So there's one down there that's identical to this in basically every way. There are no other duplicates of this. Everything else that you think looks similar is not the same thing.
Yeah, so the one inside the stage
Right.
manager.
Yeah, that's for the stage rigging
Right,
stuff.
and then there's this one.
And
It's down
separately, there is this
somewhere
off to the right.
Okay.
To the
And
right.
that one is the same one as this?
It's the same as this.
as that one.
Yes.
Okay.
So you
yeah.
We'll go
can
down
turn
there,
off the
we'll
monitors
check out
from
what
there.
else.
Yeah,
Leave it.
Okay.
yeah. Carbon copy of this downstairs. Yeah, all the same functions, all the same buttons.
And one of the things that you showed me when you were dealing with this scramble last week is when you choose to turn on the monitor, right? To go center, to power the projector on, center and sound. You were telling me you had to do both?
Yeah, you do have to do both. So I am doing a little bit of reprogramming to kind of take care of some features. So right now the feedback isn't quite working, but yes, the speakers and the the display are separate things. And I can conceive of different reasons why you might want to do that depending on what situation you've got going on. So that's why it's that way. If this, for whatever reason, is not convenient in the future, it can change. I'm just trying to set it up the way that seems the most logical for what you got going on. So, but yeah, you do need to, if you want to see this and hear this at the same time, you would have it plugged in and say, I want to go sound booth to the center projector and to the speakers. And you'll see it actually show up in the text feedback below here. I'm actually going to be changing this text to a different color so it stands out a little bit better.
Blue under there. Yeah, if you can change that. That was hard to read.
Yeah, it's very difficult to read. Yeah, it's going to change to white, so it's a little bit more obvious. But yeah, it'll actually say what text. Yeah. So you'll see sound booth is there right now, and now it's
Could I-
none. Now it's the Blu-ray 1.
Not to be too big, but could it be yellow?
Sure.
Because right now everything else is white, and so yellow would tell me that I've highlighted and I'm in.
Certainly.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Little things like that I can absolutely change.
Cool.
Yeah. And then let's see what else is there. So the source routing, display control we've gone over, Blu-ray control. So you just basically pick which one of the 3 units that you want to be controlling. Looks like I've got a small feedback bug there that I need to fix, but basically it's number 1, number 2, number 3, just top to bottom is which one you're controlling. And you've got a D-pad, turn subtitles on, turn it on and off. So if for some reason, let's say you route Blu-ray 1 and it's not on,
So, this is a silly question too,
Maybe
Colin,
hit
but
power.
do we physically bring a Blu-ray disc up here?
yes,
Okay.
that is exactly the case.
And where do we, that goes in here?
Yep. So you've got a little eject
And
button
it
right
only
here.
takes Blu-ray? Does it do
It will do DVDs,
then?
CDs, anything up to the date of Blu-rays it will work on.
Okay, so you can put a CD in.
Yep, absolutely.
That's so old school. I don't know how to put a CD in.
Won't do vinyls for you, unfortunately, but CDs it'll do.
Okay.
Different movies on the 3 images, like the 3 projected images. That could be very powerful. for
Yeah.
Yeah.
shows.
Or it could just be like moving
Music.
signage or imagery just for, up until you have your event kicking off, just something to have on there that's pretty.
I did mandalas.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, we could burn
Visuals.
visuals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
for
is really
Fantasia, they could put everything on
On a disc.
a disc,
Right.
and we wouldn't need.
Can you select multiple, so like source 1 then goes to both sides?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So when you're doing source routing, just pick whatever source you want to start routing, and then pick whichever destinations you want it to go to,
Oh, okay.
and then you pick your next one and have that go where you want that one to go.
But
Yeah.
So let's say that you put in Media Center, you want to do YouTube, can you take us through a process where you would,
Yeah. So, I mean, this HDMI is going to be, I think, permanently living here. So this will just be the sound booth one. So you'll make sure this is plugged in. You'll have to unplug it to close this properly. So bear that in mind. But you would plug that in, plug it into your laptop. Make sure your laptop is on. Route sound booth to the center, maybe also to the monitor and also to the speakers. And then you would go to YouTube. And watch some space videos. And it would, just start playing. Right now, again, I'm working on the system, so the sound's not playing right now. It's, yeah, I hit it, I kind of followed it, but again, I'm working on the system right now, so it's not totally, working as you would expect it to right now.
Sound would be on it.
Normally, you would be hearing it right now, yeah. And then the last kind of thing to go over with this area is the mixer. This is really going to be more Branix territory. You probably will never have to mess with this.
You gotta turn it on. Sound.
Yeah, I mean, you probably won't even have to turn it on, but right now,
I think it's good for us to know a general run.
yeah, so
Yeah, we have to be able to.
the way that it's going to operate is probably actually going to change after he gets his hands on it. So I've set it up in kind of a basic way. So that the wireless mics, the wireless mic receivers that are currently up at the stage rack basically have a digital route up to this mixer. So these first 12 channels are the ones that you will get the wireless mics on. So I think this one's currently on check 1 2 3 4 5, check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So you can see that you're controlling this from this mixer.
And they're labeled on the mic. Notice that.
They are all labeled with a number.
Cool.
There are 12 handhelds. There are 12 lapel mics.
Is that 8?
This is number 8. Yeah. There
Is
are,
that the main left-right channel? Or is it layer 1?
it's just left right now.
Left-right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So when I was calling you on Friday to see if I could have you help me turn up sound, this is what you were controlling?
Yeah. This is all I did.
That we were
Yeah.
using? Great.
Yeah. Just adjust that.
And we'll put a user preset in the board that goes back to this, exactly what this is. I'm stepping in so that this mic picks up. The point of that will be that then the basic user functionality of the console is something that we can get back to, even if a show we're working on has something completely different. During the day, if you need a wireless mic, you just go into the user presets on the board and say basic setup.
Just like an easy mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. An easy mode preset.
Same thing with the light console. Once we set everything, then we set a preset, and then it makes it really easy. We just go in and go, basic sound.
And then you can control mic levels from an iPad, or one can.
Right.
Not
yeah.
you, but
the
one.
iPad that we have, we'll set it up and we can house it downstairs because you don't need it up here. You have to. So we'll house it in the pull-out drawer down there.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do it there and we don't have to wait for someone to run all the way up here.
Right.
There's also there's 4 mobile mixers with this system as part of the loose items, and I'll show you in the floor boxes. There's Cat 6 jacks where you can plug those in, and they automatically become part of the system, and you can do remote mixing from up on the stage with a hard line. In addition to the wireless iPad solution. One last note about these wireless microphones. I mentioned there's 12 of each type. You can only have a total of 12 on at one time. So that's why they're numbered. There is a number 8 handheld, and there is a number 8 lavalier lapel microphone. You can only have one of them on at the same time, or one of them on at any given time.
Lavaliers or 12, any kind of combination,
Yeah.
but you can only have one or the other.
Right.
only have
One of any given number on at a time.
Got it.
You can have 4 of each.
You can have 4 of each.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for the musical or Grantasia.
Or 8 of each. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
6 of each.
And then the rest of the wireless will be up here. We have another 8 or 9 channels that will live in a rack that we need to purchase. We're going to get another one of
okay.
these that locks. It'll go there.
We'll
and
have
be-
more for the musical because we
Yeah.
need more than 12.
Yeah, got it.
And we have up to 25 of those, so which is great, or more.
So really just expanding on the system that you already had.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Can you take us through a basic function on the board real quick?
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
I can do
it's probably better for you to do it.
okay, let's just do that now since everyone's here. Scott's left, but
What are we doing?
does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, I want to
run
see
down the board.
While everyone's here, let's just
gonna come
take
over
a
by
look at
Trish.
this thing.
What are we doing?
We're discussing the mixer.
Tutorial on the board.
Great.
Okay, so this is the new version of the board we had in the previous building. There are less faders, but the thing about this board that's different is that no longer do each channel on. Thanks. That'll work. now each fader doesn't just control one thing. On our previous board, it was a one-to-one correlation. So that adds a level of complication, but you'll see the LED strip at the top has labeling, so we can make it a lot easier for ourselves. And you see that right now they're labeled like, is that IP or LP?
Input.
Input, okay.
IP.
IP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Those are each of the wireless mics, so they're labeled to make sense.
And those can be dynamically assigned to any of your available inputs from any of the connected sources. You can say, I want that thing over there to be input 1 on this board.
Yeah, but we'll keep something like this that really makes sense for the basic user preset. Now the thing that is important to understand about the board is you have to look at your faders here. If everything's down here, that means you're not going to hear anything. Except you might not be on the right mix. There are faders on this side, and they're controlling what this is labeled here only on the output that you have selected. So you may have selected left, right, or you may have selected mix 1, and you saw the motorized faders snap to a different position. So just to illustrate that, right now we're listening to input 1 on left, right main if someone was talking. If you come to the board and it's on mix 5, and that one is outputting input 2, you just need to be aware. Watch that on when you come to the board if you're trying to figure something out. You don't want to be on the wrong mix. Mix left, right is what you're going to hear in this space. We don't want to go into that right now about what the other mixes are, but the one you want to hear it in here is left, right. Don't worry too much about this stuff. If you want to get into that, I suggest watching the manufacturers' like YouTube videos. They're excellent. Stay away from this. I'll do presets that make sense for the human voice, and we'll just save those in the 12 mics. Things that you should be aware of that are simple and make sense to us is these buttons at the top are the mute buttons. Those will make sure that that channel can't be heard. You can also just mute the master. If I have left, right selected and choose mute, that's going to mute all the inputs on left, right. So nothing will be heard through the house. And you could mute, you're on mix, selected mix 5. You could mute that one, but if you go back to mix left, right, of course it's still unmuted. So it's independent, and you have mix.
And it shows it up there, right?
Showing it up there, right? That mix 5 is muted.
Yeah, which is really helpful. Right.
Is it showing it?
Here.
Oh, yeah.
And where did you see it somewhere else as well?
Is that this one up here?
This one here.
Up at the top.
What's the blinking red light, Brandon?
This one, that's some soft key that's preset. I'm not sure what that is. Don't worry about the stuff. Like literally, I think for the basic user, you should ignore everything up here because it's what's going to confuse you. We'll make the basic preset work for the inputs that you'll be using.
That's why we can't have a bunch of kids up here just poking around. That's what I get worried about. All the time.
Yeah, we're considering getting a rolling locking case for this, even though it would make it ergonomically weird. I think it is a wise thing to do. Allen and Heath SQ6 is what this is called. Go on and watch the tutorials online. It's definitely worth your time. They have 21 of them. You start at the beginning, and if you get to like number 5, that gives you the basic idea of how to use this.
Allen and Heath what?
SQ6. That's what I did. I basically knew how to use it just by looking at it because it's so similar to our previous one. But I still watched them and it was helpful. There's a lot of really good information.
What's the one down in the black box?
That's called the Q16, and it's super similar to this. Just has a couple things that are different.
Yeah.
Also Allen and Heath.
And this is, I mean, it's for you, but it's for all of us, and I guess a lot of you. Are we all agreed that, like, the preset for L on left, right is just never changing?
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
right.
So we
Like,
never need to do mix
like,
1, 2, 3.
No.
4, 5.
Literally,
We should never
yeah.
touch that.
we never ever have to worry about there being anything, like if I come in and I need to use something, I know that left, right, inputs 1 through 12, wireless or handheld, I'm golden to go.
Exactly.
I
Perfect.
think that the thing that we're going to have to just accept is that we aren't going to be able to do much without an audio engineering student with this.
Oh, yeah.
I
Right.
mean, I just don't know, because we're not going to use it enough
No.
every day to
Right.
know how to do this stuff. So that's going to be
No, as
something.
long as we can get a mic going. If we need
Yes,
to,
but
no.
that sounds like we can do that over there, right? That's just a preset. We can get mics on preset,
No,
right?
the mics have to
No.
come through the mixer.
Brandon, if the board turns off and on, yes.
Yeah, there's a one
We're not leaving
side
the
or the
board
other.
on all the time.
The board should be turned off when it's not being used,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, great.
So if we needed to come in and you're not here,
Yeah.
and
I forget where it is.
right,
There's a home
and
button
again,
somewhere.
Brandon has expressed
So?
an understandable desire to not be here every weekend.
Yeah.
Well, and to not be the only, every time we need a microphone.
There was a...
There's a button right here,
I wouldn't do
back
that.
here, but I'm not going to turn it off
Yeah.
now because you'll hear
See it? I
it.
don't want to
Yeah.
see it.
That's one thing that you should know.
Yeah.
And how do we address that problem? If we turn this off right now, you'll hear a gagoon.
Right.
Because it'll...
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
It's so the speaker, or sorry, not speakers. The amplifiers have limiters on them, so you're not going to like seriously hurt anything. It's just a loud pop. It's really annoying.
So maybe we leave it on.
It's not going to hurt anything to leave
No.
it on. It's actually designed to run 24/7.
Yeah.
It's commercial grade.
Power drain to do.
Well, it's
Not as much
low
as you
power
think.
Consumption.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's all just LEDs.
Sustainability-wise, I just
If
think
it's
it's weird with using everything.
if it's like if you had it like running
Not that big of a-
audio a lot,
Yes.
like constantly, then yes, it would be consuming more. But if it's just sitting here not doing anything, no.
It's pretty low power.
Yeah.
So if we agreed to just leave it on, Brannick, I mean, admin
I
and
would.
custodians need to know not to turn it off.
Yeah.
We could
Not
just
to
put a
touch.
little... I'd ask Scott for
My
a...
only other concern about that
label
then is
maker,
if a
we just
student
say.
does get in here, it's much easier for them to mess everything up if it's on.
They can't really... I mean, the mics are going to be locked away.
Okay.
They can't... The only problem is we have a forest or something like that. He could come in, or she, they, whoever, they come in, they could use the board. They would be able to easily, patch in right here if they wanted to play their own music. And
Oh, is that where? That's good to know.
That was my next question.
okay,
Okay.
that's one of the places
And
right here.
is that just the master? I know this is really basic.
No,
things.
that's
Right,
okay.
no.
That's a good
Play some
question.
music
So
during your
I didn't
Yeah,
go into depth here, but there are different layers here. And when you press the layers, it goes to different labels here. Do you see that?
Did they change? I was going to
Yeah.
ask if they changed
Come
color or
up
something.
close
And how
for a
much is
second.
These are different mixers,
Yeah, we want you to know how
aux
to play
inputs,
music,
outputs.
mics,
These are
and not
totally
destroy.
empty
Right.
right now.
That's all we need.
If you go back,
A
yeah,
is the inputs that are the 12 mics.
yeah,
And B
I think A
is...
through B is, or A and B is just your first,
24
first
channels.
40
Oh, okay.
inputs. And then these are some extra ones. I think one of these, or maybe both of these, are the stereo input.
yeah. See,
Yes. Oh, I see.
ST3, yeah.
ST3. So if we plugged in an 1/8 inch right now to a phone, and then, okay, here's a test for you. How do you know which channel to turn up?
It would be the STs, right?
Yeah,
But there's
Good.
3 of them.
Right.
ST3 is the one you want because this is ST3 in.
Okay.
So you would
yeah.
first
You're
you
plugging
would
me
turn
off.
your phone on,
Right.
maybe press play, and then slowly bring up
You're on layer
ST3. And you want to make sure that you're on layer left right. Sorry, mix output left right.
But we want to be layer
on layer
B.
B.
We want to be
And
layer
I'm going to flip back to everyone.
I
Okay, just
intend
watch
to
it.
label
Okay.
that over here. I asked Scott for a label maker. Here it'll say input 1 through 24, and then here it'll say input 25 through 40 plus
Mics are
stereo
on
inputs.
A. Music
So
is
it's
on
easy
B.
to-
We
Right.
want a label maker too.
We
Where's
want to know
Scott?
mic, music, and how not to blow anything up.
Yeah. You're not going to blow anything up.
You
You know,
think.
like Ed said, there are limiters set on the amps.
Don't blow
So
your ears out, but
yeah, I mean it would be really loud, but
So we are agreed we're not going to turn off the board unless we
Yeah.
hear different from you.
unless there's an easy solution, but I don't see a
I'm
reason.
going to look more into it when I'm done with
You were always
debugging,
asking in the previous space, is the board supposed to be on? And that's why I was always like circumventing answering you, because it's like it doesn't really matter if it's on. It's lower power consumption than a typical analog console.
I'm
so
just old school. It's like, oh, so we left the lights on.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
now we don't
Now
have to
we
turn the
all
lights
are.
off either.
I don't
So,
even.
Brandon, how
everything's
do
upside
you
down.
play music from the stage and control it from being down there?
If you're down there and you want to play something from the stage and
Yep.
control the volume, hopefully your device has a change a way to change.
Okay.
But you're going to need somebody to be up here or use the iPad control app
Gotcha.
to adjust the level for the mix output.
So I have an
You
iPad.
plug it in.
So
Is there, because it's up here.
Yeah,
but
ask the
one
question.
goes down there.
There are inputs that go into this board from down there.
So that might be.
If
Are we
we
going to go
want.
down there and look?
We
at
are,
Yeah,
right?
we will.
Okay,
good.
okay.
So Brandon,
Yeah.
cycling back on that
Yeah.
question, because this is the way I will use the board the most.
Yeah.
Okay? If we plug in down there, I'm running it from down there, do I still need to come up here
No.
to be on layer B and adjust the master, or can I not even come up here at all?
Right.
And
Ed, I'll let
only
you
do it
answer.
from down there?
Explain how you're
What are you
going
gonna
to
play
get
it from?
audio in.
An iPad or a laptop?
Well, that depends.
So, like, you don't even need to.
It depends
use
on
this.
where I land on what's going on in my room.
Okay.
That's true.
So
Phone and laptop.
Phone,
The-
laptop,
Phone and laptop.
iPad.
the
Yeah.
easiest is going to be the laptop. If you have with an HDMI input, you would
Yeah.
just use the system that I've already described to you
Okay.
and route it exactly.
For
the way
me,
I'm talking about.
laptop. My students also play music all the time, and so their easiest device is their phone.
Sure. So I would have to double check to see. I know that the input expander does not have an eighth inch jack. The mixers might.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They might. I think they actually have a phono, but I'm not sure about.
What
an
about
eighth inch.
aside from this? From the stage boxes down there, can we easily get in with an 1/8 inch? I saw there were 1/8 inches. So where is that
No,
head?
those are. Sorry.
There are 1/8 inch jacks in the stage boxes down there. Right next to the HDMI, there's an input for 1/8 inch. Am I wrong?
Not that
I
I'm
saw
aware
that.
of. There are headphone jacks on a lot of the classrooms, HDMI inputs, and those are for assistive listening system outputs.
Oh, okay.
But
swear
these
there's
have
something in the-
different ports.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing you say is that as of right now, a laptop with an HDMI is our best solution for
Yes.
playing music from the stage.
Correct.
We can play from a phone,
You'd wanna
and
do it up
most
here.
of new iPhones you already need a dongle.
Yeah.
We can play from an 1/8 inch, and is there one that, like, do we have one? Does it exist?
Yeah, I was
'Cause
gonna
that's
say.
always a thing we're constantly
Yeah,
having
where's
to
that
hunt
thing?
down.
I actually have a box that I just dropped off in your office.
I saw that, yeah.
That has like a dozen HDMI cables and
So
a
if we
pair
could
of aux
disperse,
cables.
maybe we could just kind of make sure that we all have what we need. So when we get in here, because I know in rehearsal, your nuts coming right up.
We're going to have to play off of laptops, and that's going to be a change.
Mm-hmm.
So where a lot of what we do, especially for me, is student-centered and kids can use their phones. We're not going to be able to do that over the auditorium speakers. I can use my small Bluetooth speakers up here when it's kids, and maybe that's fine, but I'm the only one then on my laptop that can control the whole auditorium speakers. And that's maybe not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And if
Right?
you needed to,
And then also
from
the
the
thing-
stage,
right.
we just take a stereo DI box. Those are those green boxes that I always have floating around.
Yeah.
We plug in an auxiliary cable to that, run that into one of the extender boxes that plug in down
We
there.
can do it.
Yeah, we can when we need to, but I don't think it's a good everyday use situation.
Like when we're getting ready for a show or we're like actually needing to do that, we could do it in a limited source. But in that case, I'd probably have an audio engineering student
Doing it, yeah. They'd
doing
be-
it and paired with us, and it would be right before production.
Yeah.
And we'd be
Yeah,
doing
and
it
then we're
like
in
in
tech.
rehearsal and that kind of thing.
yeah.
But for everyday usage, it's probably best for teachers with laptops and HDMI.
Yeah.
Not kids
So-
on an aux that can plug in whenever they want to all the auditorium speakers.
So I need an
And
HDMI
that sits in front of
cable.
this, right?
What
all,
does?
all of the Crestron stuff this is behind the Crestron in the chain.
Well, the Crestron doesn't really touch that at all.
Right.
But it's behind the DSP. Yeah, so that has 8 channels of outputs to the DSP. The DSP goes out to the expanders over there. The expanders go to the amplifiers.
Right.
So question.
So, if that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's before all
So
that stuff.
this could technically be
They went
off,
into,
They went down the hole.
they went down the hole.
and the audio would still work in here from HDMI input. Is that right?
Yeah.
Honestly, this is
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
for me. This is big for me because we don't have big
Yeah, there's a direct route to that. And, I mean, there's volume control and muting for it.
Can my kids?
I think that's wise.
Is now gone.
That-
Yeah, exactly.
As
Grant's
much as
just a
we
great
love him,
point.
but we can't.
Kids
So,
No students.
Unless they're audio
Unless your
impaired.
kids.
and they're
To do what?
Play
Play
music over the
music
speak,
over-
anything over the speaker.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, but also during, like,
Sorry, we're having a
sometimes
team
they would
meeting
be in
here.
here during, like, off-class time, they'd just be in here for us. Those are the forests of the world that would just be, you know, you come in... you
Playing
play, do
music and they're
something.
dancing on the stage.
Yeah, and they're just doing their thing.
No.
Okay.
I don't think that should be. That's not what this is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
a-
And if they're an audio kid, you're not working, which means you don't get to play whatever you want. Just because you have the capability of doing it, and I'll hear from this, but I'm an audio kid. Yeah, but you're not working right now.
Yeah, let's discuss it more later because I think it's worth
Yeah.
connecting with all of our students on.
So, question about input,
Yeah.
because I've done this in my room, and I'm wondering if it is a possibility here or if it's convoluted. Can you access the board from a phone or a tablet wirelessly through Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Like, I have an 1/8"
Bluetooth, no.
Bluetooth plug-in
Bluetooth,
that
no?
I use in
Bluetooth,
my
no. Wireless, yes, but Bluetooth, no.
Even though, so I have a small Bluetooth receiver that plugs into an 1/8" jack
Then
right
yeah,
there.
it's just.
And
Oh.
I use it in my classroom.
Just for audio?
Just for audio.
Oh, my
and then I
mistake.
can just go, my
Yeah.
phone's connected to
Um,
it via Bluetooth. and
You,
I
you
can-
probably need a DI for it, right?
I think you could plug your device.
little-
Oh,
in
right. I
right
keep forgetting
here.
it has that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes right in
And-
there.
Yeah.
And I think that should cover from the stage.
Probably.
I mean, if you have a line of sight,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay. I'm just curious. Is it? Maybe that's a convoluted
I mean,
answer.
it depends. I mean, it depends on what you buy. Like
Yeah.
certain Bluetooth, they will only work for like 20 feet, whereas others
Right.
will work for like 150 feet.
Right.
So you know, if you get one that has the right kind of range and you're bearing in mind line of sight, then
Okay.
yeah.
I think
Okay. That's good to know.
Probably. Plantation.
And
That's
yeah,
good to
there's
know.
you know you have really good line of sight here. So if you just have it like I mean sitting right on top of that or on top of that little ledge, you'd probably be okay.
Okay. All right.
Especially if you have like a little stand. Or
Just a, okay.
Can I
That's good to
just
know.
wind
Yeah.
back to a simple pro show question? So
Sure.
if we bring up Trish's unassigned laptop at the moment with QLab, we just put it here and here, and then we're good to go. Because they're probably going to,
QLab?
we're probably going to run the shows on QLab.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
right.
Okay,
So they could just plug in like I have right
just
here.
like that.
Yeah.
You know, Anna has
Great.
an iPad that's got the remote
Yeah.
on it that
Because
you can run.
there's so much editing and mixing, we don't want to be doing that.
So I've got QLab.
I mean, we don't want to be
Maybe
doing
my
music on
homework.
CDs on QLab.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Trigger it with.
It's on my
Yeah.
yeah.
teaching.
Yeah, the Blu-ray players
I
are really
also-
just for,
I'm trying to figure out how to get it on
you know, if you happen to have a Blu-ray or a DVD that you need to watch, or you know, doing
We need to
the
show
kind
the
of
kids a
the
movie. That's
visuals
what
kinds of
that's for.
things.
Okay.
Yeah, this the you know the kids in the
kind of
SPED
threw me for a
classroom they
second,
like to
yeah.
do movie day.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And really, these days, fewer and fewer projects are getting those. I mean, there's just almost no demand for
Right.
disc players of any kind. So, but in the school, it's inappropriate, just in case.
Okay.
One last question on the Blu-ray inputs. You were talking about how you could play 2 different or 3 different films at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to you do that exact same thing but not control it via the Blu-ray player, but say have 3 different laptops or something and play and use those same inputs?
So you
don't have to
can.
convert to a disc.
There's 3 different places you can plug laptops into. One of them is here. The other 2 are up at the stage. And so you've got stage left and stage right.
Okay.
That's what those are.
Okay.
And I'll physically show you those when we get down there. So in that regard, yes, you could do that. If you have a source in each one of those 3, you could do the same thing with laptops.
Okay.
Control them all independently.
But yeah, you have to have them one here and one at each of those spots.
And so you can't do it all from right here.
Not right here, no.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
Okay. That's good to know.
Very possible that we could expand on the system to make that happen, but as it's
Okay.
designed right now, no.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, before you all leave, check this out.
Okay.
I just saved that basic thing in here that if you come up here and things are just haywire, like maybe somebody's up here messing with it and you don't trust that it's where it should be, you press here on scenes. Why doesn't someone do that? Press on scenes, and then you'll see this screen, and there'll be maybe nothing is in here except basic wireless, but right now we will probably, as shows go on, have different stuff loaded in here. You choose the one you want, and we'll have number 1 be basic wireless, and that's for what we just had. So you click on that, and then you say go, and it's going to say, are you sure? Because you might be in the middle of a show, and you'll say yes,
Oh,
and
there we go.
it'll
Okay.
snap back to our basic wireless user preset.
So that's the scene button. That was the same on the other one too.
Yeah, it's very helpful to have those
It's
presets.
the presets like we have those
Because
tabs.
if in the middle of the day we have something going on in here, but we're running a show, we don't want to lose all of the show presets just so that somebody can do something. So of course, with the digital board, that's really the main allure, is that it's user preset. I think that's all we need to do with the board right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole system as far as up here is concerned. I guess the last thing that I'll mention is the assistive listening receivers. These are in a lot of rooms here. In fact, there are, I believe, 6 loose systems that are meant for the classrooms to be used on an as-needed basis. But all of like the main AV rooms have these dedicated. So the auditorium, the gym, the commons, and the library each have dedicated assistive listening systems. If you don't know what an assistive listening system is, the idea is for people who are hard of hearing. They have their own little wireless receiver, and they would plug in a pair of headphones or one of these little built-in or packaged earpieces. There's 2 different ways you can wear these. You can either just have a typical pair of headphones plugged directly into it and just turn it on. So it still needs to charge apparently. And the headphone would actually be used as the antenna. There's a antenna up above the lid up there that's actually broadcasting the signal. But you can use just this headphone or a typical pair of headphones like those if you have the thin jack on it. Or you can use this, which is meant to be a little bit better antenna for reception. It's called the neck loop, and you literally just wear it like this. Plug your headphone into that port there, and then you can hear it. And it gives the user just a slightly more amplified version of the program audio that's going through the main speakers.
And you select, how do you select which, say there's a presentation going in and on in the library, and there's also one going on in the commons. So
They're already set up.
okay, so
Well, actually, I haven't done the loose systems yet, but the dedicated ones, they've already been put into separate
So the
channels.
ones that are for here will just be here.
Correct.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Where do those live, and how many are there?
So there's 4 receivers in each system,
Okay.
dedicated for each system. Where they live currently is still kind of up in the air.
And you can plug in 2 sets of headphones to each one
Yes.
Which
if
would be
you
great.
need to.
So
So if we need 8 people,
You can have one between 2 people because they have
We have people that
one output on each
mention
side.
that they need them, and we could put in, we have assistive listening devices if you need them.
yeah, we'll put a little sign saying,
There already are signs.
great.
So
They just need
then-
to be here ahead of time to be able to get set up. kind of,
Yeah,
be one of the-
I'll teach my audio engineering students how to use those. Am I right that the board has a separate mix for that?
Currently, no, but we could talk about maybe setting that up
No,
if we really wanted
let's
to.
have it just be whatever the program material is.
That's currently just
Good.
backpacking
Good.
off of the
Yeah,
program
that's
material.
less
So then
work.
it's only picking up, what is it piping through? Only what's coming out of the left, right?
Yes. Whatever you
So-
hear coming out of the main speaker array,
Okay.
yes.
So that means that in theory, if we really want people to have a quality listening example or like experience, like say during Grantasia, then the whole band needs to be mic'd too.
Well, we need to just figure out a way to put a stereo miking
Yeah,
of
okay.
the space into there. Is there how are things patched into it?
To what exactly?
To the assisted listening input?
The assistive listening modulator is up there at the stage rack, and it's just one of the outputs from the audio expanders.
Oh, okay.
So we could customize that if you wanted to.
Okay, I
As far
got
as,
it.
Like what mixes go there.
I got it. Okay. So if I want, I'll just go note which one is going from there to the assisted listening device, make a mix for it, and then we can figure out in instances where we need
Yeah.
to. Let's not waste any more time on that.
No, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I think about areas where we have amplified sound and then
Yep.
analog sound in the hall, and that's what everybody else is listening to, and then you're screwing it up.
Yeah.
There are choir microphones at the stage as well.
Right. Rad.
So you'll have that as your way to
Hopefully
get everybody else
Michelle
in
will do
there.
a good enough job.
I was going to ask you that, and maybe you don't know yet, whether you're liking your stuff, what with the show and everything? I wouldn't
Probably
think so.
not. Not for amplifications.
No, yeah.
Probably
But
not.
to record, maybe?
Maybe, but that's the wrong placement for microphones to record a choir, because it would be like within 3 or 4 feet of somebody and
Right.
highlight them.
Anyway.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go see.
Let's go ahead and head on downstairs. So before we even go up to the stage, I do want to just point out that you've got some fill speakers up here below the balcony for the people that aren't going to get hit as much by the main arrays. Per our conversation, these they've had their delays set up so that the timing is correct in terms of when the wave would get from there to over here. These are timed accordingly. So there's this row, there's that row, and there's also within the light lock there are also speakers up in the ceiling itself. So there's 3 of them. The ones on the sides are usable as HDMI inputs. So that's this guy right here, and this is what I was talking about. Is different from the one that you're used to in all the classrooms. There is no 1/8" jack. It's just a straight HDMI input.
Okay.
These are additional inputs and outputs for the mixer system. So all these female ones are inputs. These male ones are outputs. These actually right here, and I'm going to do some more labeling on this so it's a little bit clearer, but just to kind of go over real quickly. These, so you're going to see this weird kind of looking one. This is called a speak-on. Brannick knows what this is. And then this XLR above it. These are intended for driving the stage fill speakers. I have 4 of those, so 1 for over here, 1 for over there, 2 for the center, and that's where those are driven from right there.
Yeah.
Monitors. What I like.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what those are, and then this digital jack. So this bottom one right here is empty right now. There's no label right there. These ones that say DS are for digital snakes for connecting. Sorry, do you have a question?
I do. Are there other places to plug in the stage fill speakers
Other than these boxes?
than right here in the middle of the stage?
It's just the floor boxes. So there's just one here, that
Right.
one there, and that one there. That's where they come from.
Right. The only places to plug in the stage fill speakers is right here.
That's correct. I didn't decide where they went.
No, I know you didn't. I know you didn't. It was not you. But I'm dance and musicals. We need monitors. This is for me in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is only about half the actual depth of the
I'm
entire
aware of
stage.
that. So
Ed, are there other places for?
I'm just trying to process. So will the cables come out up there?
Yeah, you would manage them through here. These little things. So yeah.
Brief counseling.
These are less. Guys, hold on. It's okay. These are more for like, okay, maybe the jazz band needs some miking, and they're on stage. We come out of here. Right.
You're going to come with something else.
So we'll do something different for the musical. We'll have to.
Awesome. Thank you. That's why I was like, this isn't the only option, right?
No, this is just used for
Well, I guess the
when you need stuff
Can I
on
say
stage.
on camera, thank God for Brannick Howard.
We'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll come up with a solution.
The famous. We'll
I hope
figure it
all
out.
the other high schools have somebody like him.
Right.
Contractors were
Should be
great,
so lucky.
and they're doing what's in
We're so
spec.
close to that room.
Yeah, we can talk
We have
about it
some
more
long.
offline.
We have some long cat sticks.
Yeah, a bunch.
How many expander snake
So
boxes do we get?
there's 1 audio expander and 4 remote mixers.
And we have 2 more of the AB16 whatever.
The expanders.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
2 more of those. So,
But there's only one place to plug in down here.
but they can
For
be
those.
linked.
Oh, they can?
Yeah.
Then there you go.
Yeah. So
Okay, so that helps a lot.
okay.
So yeah, that's what this one called DS302 is the expander for the in this case is the mixer. So
And the other one is Dante or
no, that one down there is empty. It's just an extra
that's
port.
why it's not
It hasn't been labeled. This is another mixer. This is the audio expander. And then again, more of the same. So you've got some more inputs and output, and then
Because this isn't right.
this isn't right. I'm gonna have to fix that. There's supposed to be 2 of these here,
It's got big old.
this should be duplicated.
or actually, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that a little bit more closely. There should be 2 of these here. Basically, it should be like a copy of that there, and then 2 of those. And then yeah, the mixer output and the audio expander. So there's that one, and then this one over here is exactly the same as that. Going to be the case in basically every classroom that you see one of these projectors in. So you can plug any laptop right into here and turn the projector on, obviously, and it should show there. This headphone jack right here that says ALS, that's the output for an assistive listening modulator like I was talking about. So that would be one of those loose systems that I talked about. You would plug that into there, and then people out here would have the receivers and hear whatever's coming out through the projector. Now, this room and Brannick's room actually have feeds to the camera in the sound booth, which should show up on HDMI 2.
Is it on all the time?
It is supposed to be on all the time.
So I can, from down here,
Okay.
I can monitor what's happening on.
Yeah. So there's a HDCP problem happening right now. That's why this is pink. So I just have to. I have to fix something on the switcher upstairs, and that will make this pink thing go away and bring the signal back. This is something that you'll see a lot with camera signals because they're trying to protect you from, or keep you from doing content protection invalidation. So that's why this is pink right now. But after, in like an hour, I'll make sure that this is working. But this is just HDMI 2 on this projector.
Source select.
Just source select using the remote to HDMI 2, and you'll see the camera. That's it. And yours is going to be a little bit different because you actually have one it's going to be a loose receiver in your booth.
Right.
So you'll just be able to plug that into whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, she can watch what's going on stage. Which is good because during like the green room, during the musical Grantasia down here, students can see what's happening. We just have to have audio for it now. Right.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk
So
about
my question
moving
was
forward.
about also the clear comps. And I know you said you just turn them on, but
Right. So
but-
these stations here, you don't have to do anything. They actually, I mean, other than, so if you wanted to talk into it, check 1, 2. So you can, well, actually, that's the call button. There we go. Talk 1, 2, 3, 4. So
Okay,
someone
so
should be able to
they're-
go into there.
so they're on all the time?
The speaker actually has a switch, so you want to make sure that it's actually on.
Will those go off in my room too?
Yeah.
So if Jess, you can talk to me in my room and I can talk to you in
Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Not hear anything? All right, I'm going to look into that. My text told me this was working. Check 1, 2. The channels are static, so
So this is our new dance room.
they're doing their own tour.
We are able to store our clothing and wardrobe back.
Doing their own tour.
We have a lot of mirror space. Also.
Last year it was a little bit smaller, right, with less years?
Yeah, in Marshall it was very smaller, but this will be able to fit all of our classes in here.
That was a call button?
The call.
That's working?
Yeah, that's working.
Hit beep.
Dance space, we have 3 dance.
We hear the fuzz, but not you.
Can I see something real quick? Excuse me? Oh, you know what? Okay. These don't actually have mics built into them. I was mistaken. So you do actually need to have the headset in order to talk into them, but if somebody's already got a headset elsewhere, and they talk on this channel, it'll come out of the speaker.
Okay, but
So
you can't like be in here and just push it.
I was mistaken. I thought this was the model that had a microphone built into it. That was not the case. I apologize for that correction.
the kids that are backstage crew can plug into either one of those systems and they will hear what's going on. So the systems
Yeah, and the belt pack that the headphones plug into, you just press the channel A or channel B, whatever
Okay,
the
and
channel is that you're
those
on.
are battery packs that you just need to charge.
No, they're powered off of the connection on the wall.
Is there a way that we can turn it into a wireless system? Because it's
So, not right now.
practical to have to plug in every single time.
Yeah.
Completely agree, currently not part of the system.
Okay.
Yeah. There are wireless versions, but that's not what was installed.
These are wireless.
And you said there was a speaker in here?
Is yours a wireless system?
Yeah. Not a microphone.
Really?
We do have a wireless.
Yeah, we have 6 units.
So, yeah, we may be able to integrate with that in the future.
Can we go check out
Yeah.
My little guy?
Yeah, we actually came in here first because your room was locked.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. So this is the gym system. It is pretty similar to the auditorium system in terms of the layout, but there's really only 3 sources for this one. There are 2 locations where you can plug in bring your own device source like a laptop, one at the north wall and one at the south wall, and there's also a single Blu-ray player dedicated for this system. Hitting any of these will turn on the projector and bring the screen down, so you can actually turn around and see that it's already dropping right now, and in a moment or two the projector itself will actually turn on as well. There's not really much to these in terms of in this interface, in terms of the different pages that we have in comparison to the sound booth. It's really just which source do you want to use, and if you happen to be on the Blu-ray source, you also have controls for the Blu-ray itself. So power, menu, directional pad, play, pause, fast forward, those kinds of things. There's also some wireless microphones in this system. Those can be volume controlled with this pair of buttons right here, up and down on the left. The main volume of the program audio, such as your laptop, can be controlled with the volume right here on the right. You can also mute all of the main audio using that one button. Also will mute the microphones, or you can independently mute only the microphones using just the bottom right button. One other area to look at for some discrete controls is if you want to or need to, for any reason, manually turn the projector on or off, or roll the screen up or down, there is a hidden menu. You can press and hold on the Grant logo for about 5 seconds, and you'll get this projector controls page that pops up, and you can specifically say, I want to turn the power of the projector on or off, or I want to roll the screen up or down. And then you can close out of that and get back to where you were before. When you are done using the system, you can just press the system off button and confirm that you want to indeed turn the system off. And then the projector will turn itself off, and the screen will start rolling up all on its own, and the system will then turn itself off automatically. That's really the entirety of the system. We can go ahead and take a quick walk to look at the input locations over at the walls, if you want to follow me. We're going to be down here. So this guy right here that has the little green plugs on it, this is our HDMI input for the north wall. The south wall has the exact same plate, looks exactly the same, just on the opposite side here. There's also some audio inputs and outputs at each of these 4 locations, and I'll point them out. There are 2 microphone inputs, 1 line input and 1 line output. These are primarily meant to be used for a mixer to be brought in, to add in some more sources to play over the speakers, or to perhaps record content that's being played through the system for videos and things like that. So there's one here. Again, there's one on the south wall, and then if you pan over there, you'll see another audio input-output plate. I don't know if it really works, but
Can you lift up that a little bit?
Yeah, it doesn't really. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, now I got it.
So there's one right there, and then there's also another one on the opposite one over there, on those bleachers.
Ah, okay.
And they're all set up exactly the same. 2 mic inputs, 1 line output, 1 line input. And they all are kind of summed together. Whatever inputs go into those will be played over the speakers, and anything that's being played over the speakers will be played out of the line output that you could use as a recording source. And that's really the entire system for this one. There are 4 wireless mic receivers. The microphones will be stored in a determined location later on. But they are numbered much like the other ones, so you can use only 1 of any given number at a time. There are 4 handhelds, 4 lapels. You can only use 4 of any at the same time. And they'll just play over the same speaker systems, and you can control the levels at the control panel as I showed you before. And that's it. Okay, so this is the common system. Again, fairly simple, similar to the gym. This is the main equipment rack. This is the rack's touch panel. This is a duplicate of the one over there on the wall, which would be the primary one that you'll control with. We're just showing this for demonstration purposes, but that is the main presentation area. Starting from the startup mode, or startup screen, you can choose the north wall, the auxiliary input, which is here, right on this panel, or the Blu-ray, which is a dedicated Blu-ray player for this system. So let's go ahead and just choose Blu-ray, get that started, and you're going to notice that automatically all 4 of the displays in the room will start popping up, turning on, and playing whatever content was chosen. So there's these 3 that are alongside the cafeteria, and then one primary one on a larger display on the main presentation wall. To kind of illustrate, again, there are volume controls for program audio. This includes Blu-ray player and anything that you plug in through HDMI, whether it be here or over at the presentation wall, which I'll show in a moment. And you can also control the microphones. So there are wireless microphones in this system. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can control the volume of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also independently mute the microphones, so that's no longer playing. Or if you mute all of the audio, that also will mute the microphones. There's also a wired location for a microphone input, if you can follow me over here. If for some reason you can't use the wireless microphones, you can plug into either of these locations here at the north wall, turn on the microphone, and you're good to go. And either of these locations, these jacks will work. This is the north input for a laptop or any bring your own device source. Just plug your laptop or device into this HDMI port and select the north wall source, and it will display on all 4 displays. And that is basically the entire system. There is some discussion of possibly expanding on this system a little bit by adding additional Chromebox sources, but that will be discussed in the future. But expect to see those in the nearby future here. And that's the total for this system. So the library system is pretty simple. There is no video component to the system. It's purely audio. In that regard, as far as the audio scope is concerned, it is pretty much the same as the commons area. So there are wireless microphones as well. You should be able to just turn it on, and after a couple of seconds, start talking, and it will play over the entire area. And again, if you are for some reason unable to use the wireless version, there is also an option for wired plugs, much the same as the other area. 2 identical XLR inputs. Again, just plug in your microphone, turn it on, and you should be able to start talking right away. And that's really the entirety of the system. There currently is no scope for video in here. It's really just the audio. If for some reason you need to be able to play program audio, you could perhaps plug into the same location, but you would want to turn it down very much. That's really all of it for the library.
Since it's just me, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So
Sure.
if they want to adjust the audio on those mics, how do they do that? Where's the...
There's currently no control system set up for this. It's just a static level, yeah. Certain microphones do have internal gain trims that you can adjust for tweaking that a little bit. These ones, yeah. So these wireless ones do actually have, I don't know if that's the right area. Yeah. These wireless microphones do actually have little gain trims, so you can take a small precision screwdriver and adjust that little knob right there and get a little bit of additional volume adjustment. And that knob exists on both the handheld and the body pack for the lapels. Good. All right. So we're in the digital media room right now. The digital media and graphic design rooms are similar in their design in that there's just one place to plug in. So you have this HDMI input location right here, and again there is a headphone jack here for the ALS output. You would just plug your HDMI cable, one end into the wall, and plug the other end into your laptop or DVD player, whatever source you happen to be bringing with you that has an HDMI plug or can be adapted to HDMI. And it will display on all displays in the entire room. So in here that includes one over there, on that wall there, and then on the opposite wall there's 2 additional displays, plus 1 projector in the center of the room. And in addition to that, you have a wireless microphone, which will play over an in-room speaker and will give you in-room reinforcement of your voice. You would just pick it up off the charger, press the power button, wear it on your head, around your neck. It has a small magnetic clip, and you'd be good to go, and you'd be able to start talking in the room. The power control for the room is all done through remotes. You can go over to the opposite side over here. So the projector has its own dedicated remote, this white Epson one, and you would want to press the power button twice. So if you'll move over to the screen here, you'll notice that it asks you to confirm when you press the button the first time. So then you press it the second time and the projector powers off. Powering it back on requires only 1 press. It will take a small moment to do a cool down, but once you see the blue light on the projector itself is solid, you should be able to press the power button again and have the image come back. It does have about a 30-second warm-up time, so bear that in mind. So we can move over to here. And behind each of the displays in this room and the other room, you'll find the remotes have been Velcroed to the backs of the TVs on the bottom right-hand corners. And you can use this remote to turn on any of these displays. It's the same for all of them. Pretty straightforward. Again, all of these displays will be powered off of that one HDMI. So whatever you plug into there will be seen on all destinations. That's it for this room.